Hi, everyone. My name is Janet Tebow, and I serve as IDA's Branch Council Chair. I have the pleasure of welcoming you to our first Motivational Monday webinar in this new year, and I'll be your host for today. Before we get to our topic, though, I have a few updates I want to share with you. We look forward to bringing you another year of great webinars, so please join us on social media, visit our website, www.dyslexiaida.org, and sign up for our e-blast so that you'll be the first to hear about our upcoming webinars. I also wanted to let you know that we have a new digital library. The website is dyslexialibrary.org. It's free and it's designed for everyone in the dyslexia community, individuals, family members, educators, researchers, and other professionals. So please visit dyslexialibrary.org to access all the many helpful articles and webinars, and most importantly, find answers to your dyslexia-related questions. I also wanted to let you know that IDA is raising funds for teachers, students, and families, and I wanted to invite you to visit the IDA website for your chance at our sweepstakes offerings. You can learn more about what's available and enter the sweepstakes. Today's topic for our Motivational Monday is college transition and accommodations for students with dyslexia and other disabilities. What's really true? Parents and professionals may hear a lot of conflicting information about college transition and accommodations. Should students disclose their disability when applying to college? Do they get better accommodations at private colleges than they do at public ones? The answers to these questions and more will be delivered today by our guest, Elizabeth C. Hamblet. Elizabeth has been a learning disability specialist at the college level for more than 2 decades. In addition to working at a university, she is a published author and frequent speaker at national conferences, where she works to inform professionals, parents, and students about how to succeed in college. Her book, From High School to College, Steps to Success for Students with Disabilities, and her other articles have appeared in numerous journals and online platforms, including understood.org, where she serves as a college transition expert. You can visit her wonderful website, www.ldadvisory.com, and connect with her at Facebook or on Twitter. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth, and I look forward to all the great information that she's going to share with us today. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Janet. Let's see if I can successfully share my screen. It's a Monday, so my brain is still catching up with me with the day of the week. Here we go. We're good. Anyway, thanks very much to IDA for offering me this opportunity to reach out to members and to others. I wanted to sorry, it is a Monday and we're going live. So anyway, what I wanted to do today was hit some of the FAQs that I get when I do these presentations and then I see online. I think that there's a lot of curiosity and honestly a lot of misunderstanding of the way things go at college. And so I really wanted to be able to address these and give folks the right information. So since Janet gave me such a nice intro, I'm going to skip introducing myself again. But this is one of the biggest things that I think is misunderstood. So are IEPs and 504 plans valid at college? I find more often that people understand the first question or the first part of that question, that IEPs are not valid at college. So if you're familiar at all with the laws in place, IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, does not cover colleges. And so while you can't go into the text of IDEA and see a statement that says, so therefore, once your student graduates from high school, their IEP is no longer a legally valid or applicable document, that is the effect. IDEA does not have any mandates for colleges, and so they are not subject to those rules. But I find that 504 plans are actually much more of a focus of misunderstanding. So if you're familiar with the laws, you know that Section 504 does apply to colleges. And by the way, the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, covers everybody from birth to death. But what a lot of people don't understand is the nuance that subpart D of 504 actually applies to K through 12. And subpart E applies to colleges. And so if you look online, you can find the text of these documents. so of these different subparts, I should say, and you'll see that they're actually quite different. And so what all of this means in effect is that plans are not valid after high school, but don't panic. It doesn't mean that there aren't accommodations, there certainly are. But it does mean that colleges don't have to provide something to a student in the way of accommodation or service simply because the student had it at the high school level. And I hear things, I've even spoken to teachers who have said that they move all of their students from IEPs to 504s in their senior year of high school because they are under this mistaken belief that the 504, travels to whatever they want to say, to the college level, and that's just not true. So to just provide a distinction for those of you who are thinking about something else that you've heard, some colleges will allow students to use their IEPs as documentation. And what that means is when students are already in and have enrolled at a college, they can, and they want to register with the Disability Services Office as part of that process, they will turn in what's called documentation, which is a fancy word for paperwork that shows that they're a person with a disability. And when they do that, there are colleges, some will ask to see the IEP or 504 if they have one, some will not ask for it, but certainly review it if it's submitted. We don't have time today, particularly to get into the intricacies of documentation. There are colleges that will accept a 504 or IEP as standalone documentation, and those that will not. And you can look those things up online if you want to see what a college will accept for documentation. So just to wrap this up, these plans are not valid, but accommodations are available at colleges all over the country. And you don't have to worry about whether or not a student is going to go to a place that offers them. They have to. So for more information on this, you can see these links on my site and on my blog. Okay, so I've already jumped ahead of myself, as I often do in these presentations. Do all colleges have to provide accommodations? So yes, they do. And there are two exceptions to the law. Well, I'm sorry, two of them kind of coalesce together. So in order for a school to be exempt from the requirements to provide what are federally mandated accommodations, they have to first refuse all federal funds. So that would mean, for instance, if I started Hamblet University tomorrow and I didn't want to follow these federal disability laws, I would have to I would have to do without all federal funds in the way of Pell Grants and federal student loans. It's obviously very hard to run a college if students can't bring that money with them. And there are also some other forms of funds, I believe, that colleges take. So if you can imagine this span of more than 4,000 colleges in the country, if you were to narrow it down to those who didn't take federal funds, I think you'd really just have a handful of schools. So that's the first piece of the exemption. But they also then have to be private and religious. And so when I first said, oh, it was two parts to the exemption, those two kind of go hand in hand. You can't be religious without also being private. You certainly can be private without being religious, though. So I don't want folks whose students are looking at religious colleges to worry, because many of them do provide accommodations. And unfortunately, there's no central database or listing anywhere of the schools that have decided to exempt themselves from ADA and 504. I had seen a list being passed around years ago, and it was only about 10 colleges at the time. And I wouldn't, take for granted that those schools are still not, choosing to comply with these laws. So for more information, you can see this link here, busting college admissions for those with learning disabilities.